Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Holly Neuman. I'm a behavioral health counselor with QuadMed, and I'm so excited to be here today talking about ways to help people open up about their mental health problems or just how we're feeling and how we're coping with challenges. So like I said, today we will be talking about just some ways to get people to open up. It can be really hard to start those conversations about mental health and just checking in when those conversations can be difficult at times. So these are just some strategies that you can use to help support someone who may be struggling. I think the number one thing is to trust your gut and start a conversation. I think so often it can be really difficult to talk about the hard things. I think there's kind of this moral value that our society puts on to the good stuff, right? That we feel this obligation to always be fine and always be okay. But the truth is that when challenges hit our lives, how are we supposed to be anything but challenged, right? We're going to feel down, we're going to feel stressed. And so knowing how life's challenges impact you can help you have the empathy and compassion for other people when you know that they may be going through a tough time too. And so trusting your gut, knowing how life's challenges can make you feel down, knowing that they can do that for other people too. The big piece is to listen non-judgmentally and avoid using language that minimizes what that person might be experiencing. And so the big opener can just be, what's going on? How are you feeling? It can even be relating to what the other person might feel. To even open up a conversation like, hey, I know when, this person in my life passed away, I was really struggling. I know you had recently lost someone. How are you doing with that? Right? So to even say, like, I know when I went through this life thing, it really hit me hard. I'm sure you're struggling too. Let's talk about it. We want to communicate that we care, communicate that that person is important to us and that we want to support them however we can. And that includes normalizing mental health care and the need for help. Right. So knowing that if things do become out of our control, if we do say like, hey, I think I'm just struggling a lot more and I'm taking this a lot harder than I thought that I would, knowing that there is help available for people and referring them to a counselor. Most employers have EAP. QuadMed is Quad Graphics EAP, and Anthem EAP is available for people throughout the country who work for Quad. Those types of resources can be kind of the first step to someone getting connected with a counselor and having someone who can help support them. It doesn't have to be, though, just about mental health, right? It can even just be a simple, how are you doing? Are you okay? And the big thing with that, with those questions, is having those open-ended questions. So rather than saying like, oh, I'm sure that was hard for you, really allowing people to talk about what their experiences are. How have you been coping with that? How can I support you through this? Using that non-judgmental tone, really just being open and really focusing on the person too, right? So not having distractions, not having the TV on, not having your phone out, being able to really talk to people about what's going on. And I think another thing that we can struggle with and something that can be a barrier to reaching out and encouraging people to open up is our fear of like what to do if someone has something heavy that we just are not sure how to cope with ourselves. And the big thing here is knowing that by supporting someone, even if they're going through something big, you don't have to fix it. You don't have to take it away from them. Everyone has the right to learn how to deal with their own challenges. And that's, in fact, a way that we get strong. That's a way that we build resilience in our lives. You're simply there to encourage them. I kind of think of it this way. If you are trying to move a big piece of furniture, right? If you try to do it yourself and it's too heavy for you, you're just going to end up like pushing it a little bit. Maybe you can like kind of get it to move a little bit, but you're still kind of stuck with it, and it's stuck with where you're stuck with it where it is. You're not able to move it. By getting help, by asking someone to help move that furniture, you're not sticking them with it. They're not carrying it all themselves. They're just helping you put it somewhere that you need it to be. And so opening up to a friend is really just saying, hey, let's take this and move it somewhere else. And it just lightens the load, it lightens the burden, it makes it a little bit easier to carry that. Talking with kids is very similar, but I think the most important piece when talking to kids is to really model and normalize opening up about how we feel. Again, it's about reducing that moral value on things being okay or on things just being fine, because things aren't always okay. Things aren't always fine. And we need to impress that upon our kids and upon our friends and family to say, it's okay to not be okay. How can I help you through this? By dismissing that, by not teaching kids that it's, hey, it's okay to not be okay, you're again not teaching them the skills that they need to overcome a challenge. And that's, I think, the most important thing that we do as parents or just as people in a child's life. We also want to be validating of their thoughts and feelings about their own experiences. And that can be hard because as adults, we're very far removed from the stresses that come with childhood and adolescence. But if you think back to your teenage years, to your childhood years, emotions for children are so much stronger than they oftentimes are for adults. And so even though the types of challenges that children face are relatively simple or kind of easy for us now that we're on the other side of all of those challenges, if you think back to how intense those emotions were at the time, it was hard enough just dealing with that, let alone the actual problem that we were facing. So having that empathy to know that children's emotions are very strong and they are very much guided and directed by their emotions. And that has a biological reason. Kids do not have the same type of brain structure that adults have. Adults are gifted with a brain that can look towards the future, that can be planning, that can problem solve a lot better than kids can. And so it's really our job as adults to help children find the potential solutions to their problems rather than trying to fix it all ourselves or brushing it off or dismissing it. We want to support our kids and help them find the tools that they need in order to solve life's challenges. Another piece might be enlisting the help of other people. Sometimes for certain issues, it can be really hard for kids to open up about them to their parents or to their siblings. So talking to them, you know, if you're an aunt or a cousin, a friend of the family, a teacher, finding someone who your child can trust with those issues can make it easier for them to talk about what's been going on. Sometimes too, it's about using that age-appropriate language and tools. And so a big thing with that is if your child has a difficult time kind of naming emotions, using tools like books, using emojis or smiley faces and helping them kind of point to those to symbolize how they're feeling. And helping your child learn to name not just bad emotions, but positive emotions too, can help them learn to start putting words to their experiences. And that again is a skill that children have to work on developing. We're not born with the language to describe our emotions. That is something that we develop over time and something that we learn how to do. And so our kids need help learning how to put words to their thoughts and feelings. And that's something that adults in their life can help them with. And again, the big thing here is resisting the urge to fix problems for them. And again, that's one of those big barriers to actually talking to people about what they're experiencing, because we have that fear of like, what if I don't know what to do? What if I say the wrong thing? But really, it's all about just offering that support, extending that bridge to help feel connected to other people and so that others can feel connected to us. And the same is true for children. You don't have to fix their problems. You don't have to solve them. You don't have to make their pain go away. You just have to sit with them while they figure it out themselves. And that is a great skill that we all benefit from. So I hope you find these tools helpful in starting a conversation. And like I said, the biggest one too is just kind of trusting your gut when you think that someone might be going through a difficult time, being open and non-judgmental, and resisting the urge to feel like you have to fix it or have to make it better somehow or can make it go away. I'm a therapist, and if I were to feel like I had to fix everyone or make their troubles go away, I would never make it because I don't have that power. All that I can do is offer people the tools and the support so that they can make it through the challenges in their own lives. And so if you're struggling with something or know someone who might be referring them to a counselor or to their employer's EAP services can be a helpful first step, and just letting them know that it's okay to not be okay. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.